Hello and welcome to Potterwatch from Page to Screen, episode 4. I'm Elizabeth.
And I'm Lucy.
And today we'll be looking at The Journey from Platform 9 3/4 and The Sorting Hat.
We pick up from last time. Harry's been waiting a whole month to get on the Hogwarts Express.
But before we begin, we're going to start out with Out of the Sorting Hat. We're switching it up today, so I will be drawing a Harry Potter question and Lucy will be drawing a completely random question. Okay. You want to go first or shall I?
Yeah, let's end with the Harry Potter question.
Okay.
My question is, what is the most expensive thing you've ever bought, or the most money you've spent on something? Or
Ooh, okay. I'm gonna say this for me personally and not me and Roman, because if it's me and Roman, then it's a house.
Yeah.
And that's both really cool and really boring at the same time. Let me have a think.
I should have thought about this before because I'm not actually sure.
I think it... but did my parents buy that? I was going to say my flute, which was £400, but I'm not sure whether that came out of my savings. It might have come out of my savings. If not, it's going to be really sad, and it's actually going to be my Harry Potter H jumper from the studio tour that I put in the dryer, and now it's too small for me, and I'm so mad. I mean, I can still wear it, but the sleeves are too small.
Yeah.
So I do sometimes wear it, but to be fair, it's quite scratchy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not too mad. Yeah, I'm not too angry about it, but
I'm not 100% sure what mine is.
I've probably bought more expensive things, because that was like £60, I think, and that doesn't seem like that much for a 25-year-old.
Yeah. Well, I would say like my prom suit, but my parents paid for that. So
that's true. Oh yeah, I've actually I've definitely bought dresses that are like £80. Yeah.
Oh, you know what it is? This is, I don't know if this is, well, I think actually the most expensive thing I've ever bought has been My Chemical Romance tickets.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, I would have been seeing them this Sunday as well. That wasn't intentional with the random number thing, but I would have been seeing them next Sunday.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is it postponed? Are you still able to? Oh, okay, thank goodness.
And the tickets are still valid, so it's just the same time next year.
Yeah.
Which is fine. And it means I can look forward to it for longer.
Yeah, that's true. The build-up is more intense. Yeah. I just realised, but maybe this doesn't count, but I did buy it out of my own money, I think, but my wedding dress was just over £100.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Normally wedding dresses...
That's a bit cooler than a Harry Potter jumper.
Yeah. Normally wedding dresses cost like £2,000 at the bare minimum, but I got mine made for me, and so I only... not that I'm posh, my mum's best friend is a seamstress. So I just had to pay for the material, and she very kindly did all of the labour for free. That was the last wedding dress she's ever done, apart from... maybe when her next daughter gets married. Yeah. If she gets married. Yeah. Okay. All right. My question.
Oh, I forgot you have a question.
Okay. Rude. Okay. I don't know about this one. If you were Harry going into the forest to face Voldemort in the last book or film, who would you summon with the resurrection stone and why? So if you're you now, and let's say that like you have a similar set of people who have died. So your parents are dead. Some of your like good family friends who are older, like Sirius, Lupin, etc., are dead. Who would you summon?
Do you mean if I was Harry or if I was me?
If you were you.
And like just everyone I know is dead.
Like a similar, similar types of people were dead.
Okay.
Well, I guess actually, let's change it to everyone you know.
Everyone I've ever met is dead.
Yeah, just to make it interesting. Like, who would you summon? Who would you find comfort in? And you do not have to say me, because I feel like there would be a lot of pressure.
I mean, I guess my parents.
Yeah, I mean that's obvious. I would definitely pick
Do I
my
have
parents.
like a
A
maximum?
limit?
Have I
How
have I
many
got
did
like
how many did
5?
Harry do? Did Harry do his
His
parents,
parents,
Lupin,
Lupin,
Sirius?
Sirius. Was that it?
Is that it?
That's everyone in the movie, but I haven't read the book in a while.
I think that's it,
So are
I
we
think
saying
that's
4
it.
people? Or
Yeah.
can we have as many? Ugh.
If it's four, let's do 4 people and then add ones on if we
Okay.
want
Because I
to.
would love to just have like like my whole extended family. Just
Oh,
like
that's like
just have a chat.
like
That's
how
too
many
many
stars
people.
are in the sky?
um, I feel like you would be a good call because I have known you pretty much my whole life, like almost as long as I've known my parents.
Yeah, I genuinely think I would pick you as well.
Yeah.
Not just because like I'm on with you and it would
And
be
also,
rude
if I'm
not to
going to
say.
face Voldemort, I need to check
Yeah.
my knowledge with you, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
Um,
I would
so,
obviously pick Roman,
yeah.
and I don't think I'd pick Matilda though, because if she was dead, she's like not even 18 months, so she
That's
wouldn't
true.
even be
She
able
wouldn't
to
add
like
anything to the
walk.
conversation.
No.
Yeah.
But maybe I would just get
Um,
her to hold. Oh no, but you can't touch her. No, I would not
hmm.
get Matilda. That would be so depressing if I couldn't touch her. I would just rather not see
Okay,
her
so
if
that's
I
your
wouldn't be
4.
able
So
to
I've got
touch her.
you, my
Yeah.
parents. Do I have to have met them? Can
You
I
can
have
pick a
like
famous person if
Daniel
that's what you're
Radcliffe?
implying. Yeah.
just to check I'm doing it right.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
okay.
I could think of loads of my school friends, but like, I really think that I need to think of them as like family, whereas most of them, I do genuinely love my school friends, like with a familial love. But those, I think that's a good 4, like, because as you said, like, you're a genuine pick for me, but it is
Yeah.
like, it's like when I asked you whether you counted me as a best friend, and you were like, it's just kind of default at this point because like
Yeah.
we've just known each other for so long. It's like we're sisters.
Yeah.
We're like chosen sisters. Well,
Yeah.
that sounds weird, but like sisters that we've actually
Almost
chosen.
like not even chosen though, let's be honest.
That's true.
We
It's
just
true.
kind of
We're
ended
just
up.
kind of forced to get like, yeah,
We do like
ended up
each other. It
together.
sounds like we're just. Sounds like we hate each other.
No, I
Um,
think it wouldn't have worked if we hated each other.
that's true.
But I mean, you were 3 and I was 9, so I mean, where was it gonna go?
Yeah.
I thought you were like adorable, so.
Wasn't I 1 or 2? I think I was 2.
Was it 2? Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still haven't picked a
Oh,
fifth
yeah,
person.
sorry.
I have no
I've
idea.
just been
Actually.
waffling on.
I feel like anyone else, there isn't. I don't know how to explain this, but anyone else isn't above the next person that it would be enough. Does that
Right,
make sense?
it's like everyone.
Like I have other family members who I'd love to be there, but not any more than some other.
all of the others. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That's how I'd feel
So-
about Andrew and Jack. Although I feel weird not picking Andrew and Jack and picking you instead.
Oh wait,
Listeners,
yeah, I have 4. I have 4 family members, like immediate family that I live with. I
I
can just pick
literally
them.
just remembered that I have 2 brothers. But like I feel like, in the slim chance that they are listening to this, which they're not, I don't want to pick one over the other.
Yeah, yeah.
And like even in that situation, I feel like they would be like, "You're not picking me."
Yeah.
Because I love Andrew and Jack the same, so I guess like you is a more logical
Yeah.
conclusion, and you're like, as you said, Harry Potter.
Yeah.
So out of Tim and Jay, who do you pick?
I'm trying to
Who's
think
the
of, like...
most like comforting?
Oh, I guess Jay.
Probably Jay, yeah.
I feel like Tim would give me the brutal honesty that I would need in the moment.
Yes, that is very true.
I'm trying
He
to
would
think
be
they would
really
just-
like pragmatic and very
Yeah.
I think that's kind of comforting in a way to like kind of get the feelings out of it and just like, I mean, Tim is very feeling, but you know what I mean, like I feel he would be.
He would just tell me. He would be like, "Well, I guess you gotta go die." Like, see you later.
Yeah, and you'd be like,
Okay.
yeah, all right.
I'm trying to think though of people like like teachers or like someone who I would find comfort or just someone who I don't know very well, but just would kind of, I don't know.
One of my mum's friends, I would pick, if it wasn't new, and I wouldn't pick Andrew and Jack because I'd be worried of offending them, I would probably pick one of my friends, Abby. She was the one who catered for our wedding.
Oh my gosh, that food was insane.
I know. That's
so
not
good.
why I would pick her.
Just for a last minute snack.
Yeah.
That is for sure the best wedding food I've ever had in my entire life.
There you go, Abby.
So
if you're listening, I'm gonna message her right now and be like, my best friend.
I still don't have any.
You can just have 3.
Yeah. That's true. We said maximum was 4. I feel like there are a few people who I would love to like see one last time, but would just like make me too.
It would make it worse.
Emotional. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Like me with Matilda, like that would just be awful.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll go with Mum, Dad, and you. That sounds good.
I'm honoured. Yeah. All right. I never know how to end like things like this. Okay. Let's get started then with. I feel like we need a drum roll. The journey from platform 9 3/4. That was not as smooth as I wanted it to be. Okay, so as we said in the last episode, Harry was with the Dursleys for a whole month.
I don't
know why I said it like that. And this is actually the first time that Hedwig's name is mentioned, unlike the film where they don't say it at all.
In the first film.
In the first film they do not say it at all.
Apart
and
from
I don't.
a deleted scene, apparently, which I haven't.
Yes.
Oh no, I did. I watched that the other day, and I hadn't ever seen it before.
Okay. What do you think of it?
I thought it felt like the little insignificant. Like I understand why they cut it because they didn't add anything.
Yeah.
But it felt like all those little bits in the book that don't really serve a
kind
purpose,
of missing.
but are just nice.
Yeah. For those listening, the deleted scene we're talking about, if you just type in deleted scene where Neville gets leg locked, you'll probably find it. And it's very funny. This
You sound like it's hysterically funny.
Sorry. It's very funny.
It's very funny.
It is funny. It's very
it's funny.
Cute funny, like kind of cringy funny.
Very, very family action movie.
Yes,
funny.
yeah. So he says that the name Hedwig, he just like it's just a random name in a history of magic. I was trying to look for like a Hedwig name, like where Joe might have got it from, but there were just so many that I couldn't pick one. And it'd be too long for the podcast. So if you want to look that up, it's quite interesting. But yeah, I can't think of any definitive reasons for that name. I do love that name though. And if you were ever wondering how Harry got to platform 9 3/4, which you probably weren't, because if you're watching the movie, he just kind of goes there after Diagon Alley. Mm-hmm. So in the book, he actually has to ask the Dursleys for a lift into here. And this is where I always forget that they're really close to London. Like, they live in Surrey, isn't it? Mm-hmm. That is very close to London. The dialogue here is really good. So it says, I just take the train from platform 9 3/4 at 11 o'clock, he read. His aunt and uncle stared. Platform what? 9 3/4. Don't talk rubbish, said Uncle Vernon. There is no platform 9 3/4. It's on my ticket. Barking, said Uncle Vernon. Howling mad, the lot of you. And he basically says that the only reason why he is willing to take Harry is because Dudley has to get surgery for his tail, a special. No, I always think that it's a specialist hospital, but it's just hospital.
I guess they're just like, you know what? I don't want to know.
They're so done at this point. Yeah. And then I was wondering whether because it's talked about that Harry has no idea where Hogwarts is, because Vernon says, where is this school anyway? I don't know, said Harry, realising this for the first time. And I was wondering, does anyone in the magical community actually know where Hogwarts is? Because it's unplottable, but does that make it not visible on wizard maps? Do you have to like know the actual location for apparating? Although you can't apparate.
Oh yeah, so that's not a problem.
Yeah.
Do you think it's like almost like with secret keepers where you like know where it is once you've been there?
Or once you've like been invited. There. That's true.
Do you mean
like
anyone
that.
in the whole of the wizarding world, or just like students?
Yeah, whole of the wizarding world.
How do teachers get to Hogwarts?
I don't know, because Lupin gets the train, doesn't he, in 3?
But I think that's like
that's very unusual.
Like a teacher's compartment just on the train.
True, because Slughorn gets the train in 6.
Oh yeah, and that's not.
He's like,
but he's like up front, isn't he?
enough.
He has his own compartment.
Yeah, and he's trying to collect students.
Yeah, he's probably doing it to try and like network.
I think actually a lot of the professors live at Hogwarts. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Because the only reason why why Harry can't stay at Hogwarts over the summer holidays is because he has to go back for the charm.
Yeah.
For the love charm.
I feel like they must know. Well, yeah, because it's near Hogsmeade, and people know where Hogsmeade is.
Yeah, that's true, and they can see Hogwarts. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Okay. Yeah. It's probably
just
hasn't got much information on it.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess it's not really important that wizards don't know where it is.
Yeah.
Just Muggles. And the Dursleys, when they dropped Harry off, they were laughing as they drove away from the station. And it says, like, "Have a good time," said Uncle Vernon with an even nastier smile. He left without another word. And it's... That's so mean. Like, how much do they hate Harry to be like, hopefully he'll just not...
Do you think well, Vernon knows about Hogwarts, doesn't he?
He knows that it's real.
Right.
But I'm not sure if he knows that this, like, platform 9 3/4 is real. I don't know.
Do you think that they truly believe that they would, like... If they believed that he wasn't going to get the train, then they were literally abandoning him in London.
Yeah, I wonder whether, like, they, after Dudley's appointment at the hospital, whether they drove back and, like, checked.
Expecting him to be, like, sat there,
like, crying. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you know what, that's probably what happened.
Yeah, and they're just, like, laughing at his face. Yeah. And then with that little headcanon, I now have the hilarious image of my mind of them running around this train station like, where the heck is he? He's actually gone. And then actually they're probably like really happy that he's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe they're scared because they got that letter from Dumbledore, so maybe they're like, oh my goodness, we've lost Harry.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah. We get the first description of Book Ron here. Hooray! It says he was tall, thin, and gangling, with freckles, big hands and feet, and a long nose. Which Rupert Grint has, apart from, I guess, thin and gangling. I think Rupert's more stockier, musclier.
Yeah, more round-faced as well.
Yeah.
I always imagine him with a really kind of rectangular long face.
Yeah, I always imagine Ron with like an almost oval face.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of pointy.
But I think Rupert Grint is like, I feel like of the three of them, he is the most perfect.
Yes, I totally agree. Yeah, even though like they don't give him all of the Ron lines.
In terms of how he, like what he does with what he's given, is definitely the best.
Yeah.
Of the trio.
Oh yes, I've just completely skipped over. So we're through the station now. we're on platform 9 3/4 now. So we get Ron. Neville is mentioned here.
One difference that I forgot about until just now is the I'm going to mention this later on when we do the Marauders map, but the ticket barrier is what they run through in the...
Yeah, I always have a really hard time picturing him running through because I don't know what a ticket barrier looks like. I can't
I
visualize
have
it.
a vivid image of what it looks like, and it's completely not what a ticket barrier looks like at all.
Okay, what do you picture?
I just kind of imagine, you know, those. I think because my image of green box that I kind of had as a kid were those green electrical boxes you get like by the sides of pavements and stuff.
To like buy a ticket?
No, no. I don't mean at all, like, not at all linked to train stations. Just
I
like when you're
see.
walking down the street and it's like an electrical box kind of by like a hedge or like some trees or just like by a wall. Do you know what I mean?
No. No, not at
Okay,
all.
well, I'll send you a picture later, but it's
Okay.
just these kind of bottle green metal boxes. They're about 2/3 the height of a person and like 2 meters wide. And I just kind of imagined it like that on a wall.
Right. Yeah,
Um,
okay.
Hang on, let's stop talking for a
I've
second. I'll actual Google ticket barrier.
I've Googled ticket barrier, and it's those electric ones that like you put through and they
Oh
like
yeah,
flip open.
but the ones you used to get with like the 3 little kind of prongs that like flip round.
Oh, those ones,
Yeah.
yes.
So I
Oh,
guess
that
it's
would be
just
so cool to like just kind
and
of
it like
run
flips through and then
and you just kind of get there.
yeah. Because I guess
Ah, because they don't say in the book it doesn't have Ginny. Is it or Mrs. Weasley's line? Does she say, "Oh, it's best to do it at a bit of a run if you're nervous"?
yeah.
Is that in the book?
I'm not sure. Although it does say that they lean against the ticket barrier and then kind of
True.
casually fall through it.
True, and they go like two at a time sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't know what J.K. Rowling was
Who
thinking.
knows what she's thinking about? Yeah, those kind of ticket barriers don't actually exist down at the platforms anyway.
The turnstile ones.
Yeah, so I mean, who knows? Who knows? What it
Yeah,
was.
I like
Although
the
actually,
film version.
apparently she got is there a train station in London beginning with E? She got King's. I mean, I got this from like a book. Oh my gosh, it's tipping it down with rain.
Oh, I can hear it.
Wow.
That's gonna be great on the podcast.
Yep.
Oh wow.
Background noise. That started so suddenly. Wow.
Welcome to
Anyway.
England.
Yeah. Home of Harry Potter. I don't even know what I was saying now.
London train stations. Yeah,
This is gonna
beginning
be
with E.
horrific for you to edit.
I know, I'm already dreading it. Euston?
Oh yes, yes. Apparently, I was reading the book I have on locations, which is an unofficial guide, so who knows how reliable it is. Apparently, she said in an interview a while ago that she got
Euston.
Euston, yeah, confused with King's Cross.
Ah, okay.
But she does say that her parents set off from King's Cross, and that's why it was so. So maybe not. Maybe that's complete false information.
I
But
don't
who
know.
knows?
Anyway, I really like the film
Yeah,
one
me
of
too,
this
actually.
of the brick wall. I think it's
Yeah.
so like magical.
Yeah.
Yeah. Neville is mentioned here instead of on the train, just in passing. So it says, this is Harry. He passed a round-faced boy who was saying, "Gran, I've lost my toad again." "Oh, Neville," he heard the old woman sigh. Which I love this little bit in the train station because it like I don't know. I feel it feels a lot more natural than getting everyone introduced on the train. I don't know why.
Oh, that's true because you've got. Oh no, he's not introduced on the train. Okay, I was going to say that Malfoy is introduced on the train, but that's the book. He's not even introduced. Anyway.
Yeah, but he is introduced on the train in
properly.
the movie.
No, it's at
Oh,
Hogwarts.
yeah.
Because that's what I was saying. I was like, oh yeah, because it's Draco and everyone, but we don't see it anyway.
Yeah, that's true. I always forget that. This is why we're doing this. Because, like, for those who haven't read it, but also because we're way oversaturated with the movies.
Yep.
All right. This isn't in the right order.
Oh no.
Okay, but there's a bit that says, Mrs. Weasley asks, "What's the platform number?" And you had a little bit.
Yeah, I didn't notice this little what's it called, line dialogue until rereading this chapter. And it does seem strange that after having all these children, she doesn't know that it's 9 3/4.
Yeah, that is strange, but I guess it's just to like
She's just,
repeat again,
or
like that
maybe
it's
she's
9
just
and
like
3.
testing them.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I don't know.
I had looked on the Wizarding World website because about not 10, about 5 years ago, J.K. Rowling did a bunch of writings for then Pottermore, and she did one on platform numbers, and she said that there are other magical platforms in King's Cross Station that open and close for different wizarding events. So like the examples she gave were Celestina Warbeck. Is that her name? Celestina,
I think.
Warbeck
Yeah.
concerts?
Yeah.
Who is Mrs. Weasley's favourite singer, and obviously the Quidditch World Cup and kind of major events like that, which I just think is so cool.
Maybe like she goes to a lot of these events, and she just forgets the platform number because
That's true.
like there's so many platform numbers going through her mind.
Yeah, maybe there are just like loads and loads. I guess there must that just kind of open when they need to.
Yeah. So going forward in time again, Fred and George are the first to notice who Harry is, whilst helping Harry onto the platform, not Ron. And I love this bit in the book. Says, "What's that?" said one of the twins suddenly, pointing at Harry's lightning scar. "Blimey," said the other twin. "Are you?" "He is," said the first twin. "Aren't you?" He added to Harry, like, how is that asking? "What?" said Harry. "Harry Potter," chorused the twins. "Oh, him," said Harry. I mean, yes, I am. And then Mrs. Weasley comes to his rescue because Harry really does not like the attention. And I love as well that they're helping Harry. They just automatically help him without knowing who Harry is or anything.
Yeah.
And I see like Fred and George as like stereotypically like cool kids.
Yeah.
And I like that even though they're like cool kids, I don't know why I say it like cool kids. Cool.
Clearly, we are very cool.
Clearly, we're really popular. I was going to say were, but you're still in high school.
Yeah.
Really popular in high school. Because like, I don't know how it is for you, but in my high school, like the cool kids in high school, like would never do that. They just like see themselves above such things.
Particularly the kind of like class clown type.
Yeah.
People.
Fred and George type characters. Yeah. I thought that was nice. Molly notices what's on Ron's nose before Hermione, and she's trying to like rub it off as fast as hard as possible. And this is lovely as well. Like, so we get a lot of twins moments here. So Twin says, "Ah, has Ickle Ronnie got something on his nosy?" said one of the twins. And they also make fun of Percy being a prefect as well. So this is Percy speaking. "Can't stay long, Mother," he said. "I'm up front. The prefects have got 2 compartments to themselves." "Oh, are you a prefect, Percy?" said one of the twins with an air of great surprise. Oh, I cannot read today. With an air of great surprise. "You should have said something. We had no idea." "Hang on. I think I remember him saying something about it," said the other twin. "Once. Or twice. A minute. All summer." So,
Can you hear that thunder? Sorry, I keep interrupting the flow.
That's okay.
I guess it links because lightning scar, lightning bolts, you know?
Oh, nice.
There is lightning across, like,
The whole sky. That's so cool.
Well, okay.
It kind of freaks me out, and I think it's cool at the same time.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, so I just really wish that there was more, like, twins teasing people and twins jokes. I think it really adds to their character. Like, they're more just kind of slightly funny in the in the film.
Yeah. They kind of lose their comic relief status in a
Yeah,
way.
like they lose that, and then Ron is the
Ron
comic
gets it,
relief.
yeah.
Yeah,
Which I
yeah.
guess makes more sense because
Ron is in it
there's
more.
less, yeah, it takes less time to establish that Ron is there than it takes to
Yeah,
establish that the twins are there.
yeah. And then Ginny says a very interesting thing. So she notices. So the twins tell Molly that Harry is Harry, Harry Potter, um, on the train, and Ginny's like, "Oh, Mum, can I go on the train and see him? Mum, oh please." And and I love Molly's response here. She says, "You've already seen him, Ginny, and the poor boy isn't something you goggle at a zoo. Is he really, Fred? How do you know?" And I'll go on to more what she says later. But Ginny really like has come a long way.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad that she is not like that.
Yeah.
And she comes
Especially
to
considering they're
like,
married.
yeah,
Not that they probably wouldn't be if she stayed like that, I
yeah, they
suppose.
probably wouldn't be. I mean, I'm always reminded of that moment in a Harry Potter musical when Ginny goes, and someone will finally notice you for the real you. And she's like right there.
Yeah.
Well, she's the one saying it. I love that. Yeah. Anyway. So I really like Ginny's character progression in herself, and also in seeing Harry as more of a person and less of a someone to goggle at.
Yeah. How much of this do you think was this this moment here actually just her and then she learnt to change it, or like how much do you think it was just her being, you know, a 10-year-old girl who saw like a famous boy
Yeah,
her
I
age, you
think it
know?
was just 10-year-old girl seeing a famous
Yeah.
boy, because like you've got to think of how Harry is portrayed in the Wizarding World. Like he's in books. Like
Yeah.
Hermione has heard of him, and she's Muggle born.
He like saved the world
Yeah,
pretty
he
much.
literally saved the world.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure that once Voldemort was finished with Great Britain, he would have moved on to other areas, and I'm pretty sure he did do some of the junk in other areas. So yeah, so he's a big deal. But I think she yeah, she just kind of got to know him a bit better.
Sorry, I need to stop reacting every time there's lightning, but it's like just a line all across my window. Oh, okay, maybe I should try and film it or something. Okay, anyway, sorry.
That's all right. You're okay. You're good. And then Mrs. Weasley, her response to Fred. So Fred says, so she says, "How do you know that Harry is Harry?" And he said, "Asked him, saw his scar. It's really there, like lightning." And she says, "Poor dear. No wonder he was alone. I wondered. He was ever so polite when he was ever so polite when he asked how to get onto the platform. Never mind that. Do you think he remembers what you know who looks like?" Their mother suddenly became very stern. "I forbid you to ask him, Fred. No, don't you dare. As though he needs reminding of that on his first day at school." And it's so, like, again, like, with how Harry was portrayed in the Wizarding World, like, he's just this hero. And for Molly to think of him, I mean, I guess she does have a son of the same age. Like, she would have kind of known Lily and James a little
Yeah.
bit. Not much, though, because she wasn't really in the war, because she was busy having children.
I feel like that's such a mum thing to say as well when she says like, "Oh, he was such a lovely boy. He was so polite." Like,
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
just it's very
But I think,
very mum
like,
thing.
you know, Harry gives a really good first impression to pretty much everyone.
Yeah.
Because he is very polite, he's very kind. Yeah, so that must have been like another like plus for her, like, oh, this poor dear. Yeah, and I was wondering, right? So Molly does know of, I'm pretty sure Molly does know of Lily and James. I'm sure she would know of Harry. So I was wondering, and I have a little headcanon that she would have like pretty much begged Dumbledore to have Harry.
Yeah.
And what your thoughts are on that?
Do you think she ever met him as a baby?
I don't know. That would be really interesting. I wonder if any of the other members of the order did as well, because
Sirius.
Neville's parents would have. I don't think they would have been tortured at that point, would they?
I don't. No, I think so, because that would have been before Bellatrix goes into Azkaban, which is kind of with the fall of. So maybe, probably.
So they were probably tortured right after Neville was born.
Maybe, yeah, probably.
Oh gosh. That's so depressing. For those of you who have no idea what we're talking about, Neville's parents were tortured into insanity by Bellatrix Lestrange, but we'll get to that later. Many years down the line. I don't know. I don't know whether anybody would have asked, but obviously they would have been turned down.
Mrs. Weasley is a very, very protective, very maternal woman, and especially with Harry being. Is Harry? Yeah, Harry is younger than Ron, so a child the same age as her son, her youngest son at the time.
Yeah.
And now he's still her youngest son. But yeah, I think she definitely would have just wanted
if
to
she'd known him
him
at least. Yeah. So on the Wizarding World website, J.K. Rowling said that the Hogwarts Express underwent several magical modifications before the Ministry approved it for school use. So what do you think these magical modifications were?
That's such a good phrase.
Try saying that 5 times faster. Bubbly, 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 bubbly.
Bubbly, bubbly. I can't even say it once.
No.
Do you think
maybe like invisible? Maybe.
Yeah. But then surely that would be kind of. Is it a completely separate track for? I guess so.
Good question.
It must be. So is the track like invisible? But then Harry and Ron see the train in the second book and film.
But they're wizards.
They know that the train should be there, but also, does that mean it's only invisible to Muggles or only invisible? Is it invisible?
I think that it's a Muggle track.
Okay.
But maybe, like, they just. I don't know. That's a really good question.
It's a stolen Muggle train. That is a fact, according to the Wizarding World website. Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, well,
that's so cool.
I think the way she phrased it was like, I won't go into the details of how it happened, but it involved several memory charms and a lot of employees having a really bad feeling they'd misplaced something for a long time afterwards. So it's just like a train that they kind of nicked, I guess, and put some charms on.
That's so bad. I thought you meant like a stolen like carcass of a train that was like run down that they fixed or something, but that's
like the train they used for the movie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
but I'm pretty sure they just like nabbed a train off the Muggle station.
Way. Okay, our theory from the last episode of them stealing from supermarkets is now less crazy. Wow. Yeah, so I think it's a Muggle track. They probably just kind of
probably invisibility charms.
Yeah.
But then you'd think that if it's invisible, that's really dangerous. If there happened to be another train on the track.
I think they like modify the timetable so that every year is September 1st. That track, the whole track is just clear. Yeah. If it is a Muggle track. That's what I would do if I was a wizard. It'd be easy enough to do. Just twiddle some dials.
All right. Yeah, that sounds.
Yeah. And maybe like room expansion as well, like making it bigger.
Yeah, like the cars in the
Ministry cars
book. Is it the 5th book?
I think there are multiple books.
Okay, but the Ministry cars that are bigger on the inside.
Yeah, and the Ford Anglia actually is meant to be modified.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably that as well. All right.
So I think this line really sums up how Harry feels as he leaves King's Cross. He didn't know what he was going to, but it had to be better than what he was leaving behind.
Oh, that makes me
right.
so emotional for some reason.
Yeah.
Like the hopelessness of it. Like,
yeah.
He has no clue
It could
what
be
this is going to
anything.
be. Yeah.
Literally anything. And he's like, well, absolutely anything is still better than where I've lived the last 10 years of my life.
Yeah. Oh. Okay, so then we're just kind of skipping ahead here because it's just all the same. Harry is with Ron on the train, and I'm just going to go over quickly what their conversation was. I'm just going to get to the page on the train because it's so sweet and it's not really done in the film to the extent as per usual. So the first main difference is that Harry found Ron just as interesting as Ron finds Harry, because Ron is a pure blood wizard. Like, Harry's never met anyone like this before. So I think that they're a lot more equal in the books than they are in the films at this point, especially. We find out here that Ron doesn't like being part of such a big family because Harry asks how many brothers he has. So he says, "Wish I'd had 3 wizard brothers." 5, said Ron. For some reason, he was looking gloomy, which we don't really get at all in the film. We don't even get the reason behind why he sees himself alone in the Mirror of Erised, and this is why. He just really hates being part of like a pack.
It just feels overshadowed.
And all of his brothers are like
a very Slytherin trait. I kind of feel like Ron. Well, no, he's very
like
Gryffindor,
a Griffining.
I feel
Griffin.
I feel like if he wasn't a Weasley, the Hat would have taken like maybe as much time with him as it did with Harry.
True, because maybe the Hat just also overlooks him, and it's like, oh, another Weasley, I'll just whack him in.
Oh,
Gryffindor.
It's like a whole other layer. Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
It's just like, oh, a Weasley. I don't even need to. Yeah.
Slap him in Gryffindor. Yeah. Interesting. He also reveals that he's poor, and Harry says that he doesn't think that there's anything wrong with being poor. So he says to Ron that he has to wear Dudley's clothes, and he's never gotten birthday presents, which I guess in a nice way, like Ron's not being horrible, but it cheers Ron up. To think that, again, like, I feel like they're way more equal. I mean, they are equal in the film because it's still the same character, but they're portrayed as more equal in the book. I feel like in the film, Harry's more like the cool best friend, and Ron's like the tag along.
And like,
And it's even early on here, Ron is established as the member of the trio who knows the most about the wizarding world. So he's like established as, this is the person where we're going to get all of the magic information from, pretty much. So Harry is really worried that he's not going to know much. And Ron says, there's loads of people who come from Muggle families and they learn quick enough. Which, just that alone, coming out of an 11-year-old boy's mouth, I feel like is a lot more eloquent than Ron is portrayed.
Yeah. I think as well, most of Ron's lines that show how much he actually knows are just given to Hermione, because she's the smart one. In the films, they're all kind of, they're put in boxes a bit more, which
they
makes
need
sense
to be Yeah.
quick character archetypes.
Yeah, like for a children's movie as well, like you need to have like
it just needs to be quite simple.
Yeah.
But it does seem unusual that she would know more. I guess, you know, they show that she's read all these wizarding books, but just about everyday wizarding things, it seems unusual that she'd know more than Ron about the wizarding world.
Yeah.
Considering he grew up as part of it, you know?
That's true. I mean, yeah. I just agree. And then Ron and Harry eat all the sweets. So when the trolley comes up, Harry was like, I'm going to read it actually. It says, he was ready to buy as many Mars bars as he could carry, but the woman didn't have Mars bars. It says, what she did have were Bertie Bott's every flavour beans, Droobal's best blowing gum, chocolate frogs, pumpkin pasties, cauldron cakes, licorice wands, and a number of other strange things Harry had never seen in his life. And something... I have a lot of obviously pet peeves in the films, and I love the films so much, but obviously there's things that annoy me, and this is a really huge one for me for some reason. It just really gets on my nerves. That in the film, Harry says, I'll just take the lot. I'll take everything.
Everything but the trolley.
Yeah. Which you should have just rolled the trolley into their compartment, to be honest. Imagine, like, the behind the scenes of that, just like them like taking it onto the seat. In the book he just says I'll have it says he got some of everything. And he had to pay the woman 11 silver sickles and 7 bronze nuts, which is a fair amount but not like crazy a crazy amount.
Yeah, that's like less than, like, I always imagine a galleon being like £5, so it's probably like £3.50 or something. I'm sure I could work out, but yeah,
and in those days as well, like it was set in the 90s when like Freddos were 5p. For anyone who might be listening who's not English, Freddos are little like actually chocolate frogs. They're the English version of chocolate frogs.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're
the Muggle version of chocolate frogs.
Everything although the price of Freddos is something that annoys me every day.
It annoys every British person, and I don't get it, because every other piece of chocolate and sweets and everything, they all go up in price, but it seems to be
it's the
Freddos.
I feel like it's because Freddos were always the like cheap affordable
always
ones.
5p, like even
and
it was on the packet. Yeah.
It's not a quarter of a chocolate bar, because chocolate bars were always £1.
Exactly. Yeah. And like it was even printed on the packet that it was 5p, like that was the Freddo thing.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Now it's printed on that it's 25p, which is
it's just
like
wrong.
Penny sweets and anyway.
Yeah. It annoys me. This annoys me particularly because I have serious FOMO when it comes to food, and we've discussed this before, that I often weigh or count out. If like me and Roman have like a packet of M&Ms, I will count out every individual sweet to make sure that we have the same amount. And like pie, I will make sure that we have like the exact same amount.
Yeah.
But then if Roman made it or I made it, I would give the bigger slice to the person who made the thing.
We usually have the you cut I choose system.
Yeah.
Which is also very good. But yeah, sometimes we get the scales out.
Really, yeah, so that's why I don't like take the lot.
Yeah. I suppose, I mean, we keep saying like in the films it's better for the films, and in the books it's better for the books. I feel like we'll take the lot just sounds punchier. Like if he was like, oh, we'll have some of everything, kind of.
Yeah, that's true.
It just doesn't sound as like.
It sounds a bit lame.
Yeah.
We'll have 2 of everything, please.
2, yeah. And then having the like whole pile of sweets, it kind of.
It's
for the
cool.
sake of the aesthetics, it does. And the designs of the packaging are beautiful.
They're so good. Is that all Mina Lima?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I think from the beginning everything was Mina Lima, which is the graphic design. I don't know, company? team.
company. I guess they're a company
duo.
because they do other things other than Harry Potter.
Yeah. It just it
it fits
it just
Harry
fits.
Potter.
Yeah. It reflects the books, but also like fits the films.
Yeah.
And, like, it's just perfect. It's so good.
Yeah. Here is where they read Nicholas Flamel's name on the back of a chocolate frog card. So it's not like Hermione randomly going, "Oh, I remember it from the book."
Which happens a lot in the films.
Yeah. So you went to the library. So yeah, this is also that deleted scene that we were talking about earlier, where Neville gets the leg locker charm. They deleted this scene where Harry's like, "Oh, I got another Dumbledore." Or is it Ron? I think Ron says, "Oh, I've got another Dumbledore," and just tosses it aside. And Harry says, he reads it, and he's like, Here's Flamel. This is crazy." And they run off to the library. So the back of the chocolate frog card says, "Albus Dumbledore, currently headmaster of Hogwarts, considered by many the greatest wizard of modern times. Professor Dumbledore is particularly famous for his defeat of the dark wizard Grindelwald in 1945, for the discovery of the 12 uses of dragon's blood, and his work on alchemy with his partner Nicholas Flamel. Professor Dumbledore enjoys chamber music and 10-pin bowling." He also loves knitting patterns. I just love that bit in the 6th film.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, so it's actually Harry and Ron's realization, not Hermione's. So again, perpetuating Hermione's smartness in the film a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then Neville comes into the compartment himself, looking for treasure. Treasure?
Neville's looking for treasure.
Trevor is not treasure. He's looking.
Trevor is treasure.
Sorry, but he's a toad.
But he's a toad. Toads are beautiful.
Okay. If you say so. He comes looking for Trevor, and then Hermione comes in again.
Hear it now. Okay.
Sorry. I've ruined that forever, haven't you? Haven't I?
Oh gosh. Okay.
This is a train wreck. And then Hermione comes in again looking for the toad. And then after Hermione leaves, we're both laughing because we both know what's coming. Ron's reaction to Hermione is just awful. He is so awful to Hermione. He says, "Whatever house I'm in, I hope she's not in it." And this just really reminds me of Luna saying, "He's very funny, but sometimes he can be a bit cruel," which is just wrong to a T.
Yeah.
I feel like he has if the most empathy you have is 100%, he has 20% empathy at most.
It's the emotional range of a teaspoon, one might say.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like part of that though is him coming from a big family, you know? You kind of have to have that I feel like if you spend so much of your time with your siblings, because with your siblings it's you love them, but you're me. Maybe I'm just exposing myself as a horrible sister, but it's you love them and you ultimately you care about them, but you're just mean to them a lot of the time in a kind of way that you don't realise is actually mean.
Oh yeah, I used to steal Andrew's belongings and hide them in my cupboard.
That's like Voldemort.
That's true. Whoops. Yeah, that was not pretty when he found out because I stole his favourite shoes.
Oh.
I was always intending to put them back, but I was a hidden rebel. I was a secret rebel. I was I'll just steal them for a few days and then put them back when he's not looking. Yeah. Just thought it'd be funny, but they were his favourite shoes and it was a really bad move because then, he wanted to wear them, obviously. Okay, and then it's here as well, so there's an incredible amount of foreshadowing in this chapter. Ron reveals the attempted robbery on Gringotts Bank.
Mm-hmm. Which again is another example of him being smart and informed
Yeah,
in
and
a
his
different way to Hermione
connection.
is smart.
Yeah, like his connection with the wizarding
Yeah.
community through his father as well. I think that's
Yeah.
why he knew. He's like, oh
Hmm.
yeah, my dad said the other day. I think that's how he brought it up.
Hmm. Yeah,
Um,
that rings a bell.
yeah. And we also get Draco Malfoy.
Oh,
Woohoo! I just want it said that Draco is one of my favourite characters of the whole franchise.
we
So
need to
if
do a whole
I'm
episode on Draco for sure.
yes, a special episode on Draco. Yes, please. Like every time me and Lucy go to the studio tour with our mums, I always bring a green apple and I always force myself to eat it because I'm
Yeah.
like, it honors Drake. And I actually never regret it because we always have so many sweets
Yeah.
that it's quite nice
You need
actually.
the kind of disgustingly sour green apple to
Yeah,
combat it.
yeah. Um, so I really like actually. He introduces Crab and Goyle carelessly. It says, which I think is a nice touch. Like it, he gives such a horrible first impression, and again
Yeah.
here. Harry says no to Draco asking Harry if he wants to be friends, and a fight breaks out.
I
um,
love this. I love that
yeah,
it's like their second time meeting and they are physically fighting.
yeah, like it's a brawl.
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to fight us, are you? Malfoy sneered. Unless you get out now, said Harry, more bravely than he felt, because Crabbe and Goyle were a lot bigger than him or Ron. But we don't feel like leaving, do we, boys? We've eaten all our food, and you still seem to have some. Goyle reached towards the chocolate frogs next to Ron. Ron leapt forward, but before he'd so much as touched Goyle, Goyle let out a horrible yell. And here is Peter's one redeeming...
Oh yeah, I forget that it's Peter Pettigrew and not
Me
just
too.
a rat.
Me
Until you
too.
just said that.
His one redeeming moment. Peter Pettigrew, as Scab as the rat, bites Goyle's finger.
Do you
Yeah.
think he recognises him as... Because obviously Goyle Senior is a Death Eater. Do you think he's like, oh, that's his son?
I'm pretty
Let's
sure he
go at
says,
his
yeah.
finger.
Malfoy even says this is Crabbe and this is Goyle. So
Yeah.
Peter would have heard that and he'd have been like, ah, it's those people. Like, yeah, I definitely think he had
They're
some
not
sort
loyal,
of like,
yeah.
yeah, or that he just had some kind of beef with him because I
Yeah.
don't think the other Death Eaters would have like
No.
regarded him as the same like
Yeah.
level as
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Every yard's a schoolyard. I don't know where I got that from. I think I just
Me neither.
I think I just coined that. I'm quite proud of that. Okay, and then after this, when they go away, Ron says, I've heard of his family, and he says this darkly. Which I find quite interesting.
What do you think Mr. Weasley has told his children about the Malfoys as a family?
I mean, it's very obvious that he hates Lucius. Yeah, Lucius. That's how I say it. Anyway, not Lucius.
Who are... Oh, what?
Lucius. A lot
Lucius.
of Americans and other people, I've never heard other Americans talking about Lucius before, but yeah, a lot of other people say Lucius, which is really weird.
Lucius.
Yeah, but I've always
Lucius.
said Lucius.
I think... I don't know, to be honest. Now I'm overthinking it. It's like almond and almond.
It's definitely in the films. Mr. Weasley pronounces it Lucius. You know, when
Lucius.
he's like
Lucius. I think I say Lucius. Like Lucy. Us.
Yeah. Yeah, I do think that Mr. Weasley really hates Lucius.
Because the fact that Ron says it darkly makes me think that like maybe he's not letting on as much as he actually knows about their family.
Yeah, maybe some of
Like,
the
does
things.
he know? He knows that he was a Death Eater, doesn't he?
I don't
Ron.
know. Ron?
Yeah.
Mr. Weasley probably does,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know whether Mr. Weasley. He probably has told his family actually.
Yeah.
Just in passing, just to be like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
that horrible guy.
Yeah, and about how he claimed to be under the imperious charm and...
Oh, true, it's like public knowledge, isn't it?
Yeah, because he... So, yeah, probably like pretty much everyone that knows of Lucius Malfoy knows that he was a Death Eater.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now we are moving on off of the Hogwarts Express to
Into Hogwarts!
to Hogwarts and to the Sorting Hat. To the Sorting Hat.
So excited.
Yeah, I mean, this is where it gets good, let's be honest.
Yeah.
So the first thing is that Hagrid finds Trevor for Neville when he's checking the boats, instead of Neville kind of yelling out and scooting over in front of Professor McGonagall, which I love
like
in the films.
Yeah, I like it in the films, but I do like that little like nod to Hagrid is like the animal guy.
Yeah, that's true.
He's not an animal guy, but
And
he likes animals.
Yeah, and the fact that if he hadn't like double checked the boats, like I wonder what
would
instance
happen
led
with Trevor?
to. I know, because Trevor's treasure.
Oh dear, I'm never going to live that down, am I?
Do you think there was some instance or something that led to it being like a rule that you had to check the boats? Like, did some first year just get sent back or something? I don't know. like he didn't get out and just...
Every rule is there for a reason.
Yeah.
Do you know, every time I think of that, I think of the fact that in hospitals they mark an X on the leg that they don't amputate, or the limb that they don't amputate.
Oh gosh.
I don't want to think about the time there.
Wow.
Where that went wrong. Sorry. Anyway.
But yeah, I dread to think what would happen if Hagrid didn't check the boats. Like, would Trevor just get sent back? I
think he'd just live in the lake.
Oh yeah, probably.
He'd probably be like, yeah,
he'd be thrilled.
Like, yes,
is Trevor
freedom.
like trying to escape?
I think so.
Is that the kind of
because like toads, like a Trevor like side story.
Yeah,
Trevor the series.
Trevor the treasure. Yeah.
Trevor the treasure in the Philosophers. I do think that's why, because like toads are typically meant to be kept in like glass tanks, like not in
he's just
an 11-year-old's pocket.
Yeah, that's true.
Or anyone's pocket, for that.
Yeah. I do love in the film though that shot where Neville looks up at Professor McGonagall and you've got Maggie Smith kind of looking down at him a bit. It's not even like she's not like disapproving. She's just kind of what's the word? She's a bit disturbed. She's kind of a bit
judgmentally
like,
kind of like,
she's like, what is this 11-year-old doing at my feet with a toad?
I wonder if she knows that that's Neville, because his parents are really famous.
Yeah.
And I wonder if she's like, I wonder if in a way, and I love Professor McGonagall, but I wonder if in a way she's like, this is the Longbottom's son.
Oh.
Sorry.
Oh,
sorry.
How would she know though? How would she?
I don't think she knows. Yeah, that's true. I don't think she knows. But it's interesting to think about.
We can speculate. Jinx.
Yeah.
So, in conclusion, it's good in both, you know. And Trevor's the real main character of the Harry Potter series. Is what it comes down to.
It's all about Trevor.
Yeah. And McGonagall doesn't really show her obvious feelings towards the houses in the book. Each house has its own noble history, and each produced outstanding witches and wizards. So yeah, in the film, she just kind of goes through the houses, and when she gets to Slytherin, it's Slytherin, you know. In
the film, and I don't like that. Although, I just don't like the, even the first years would be like, oh dear, is Slytherin bad? Who haven't heard of Slytherin?
Yeah, and who maybe even their families have come from Slytherin. They're like, excuse me, my parents are Slytherins, my older siblings are Slytherins, I'm hoping to be in Slytherin. But for the sake of the film, it does set up the kind of rivalry.
True.
But at that point, you don't know that she's head of Gryffindor.
Nope.
So it's just like the
I think
teacher
it just,
being like,
yeah,
Slytherin.
sets up that Slytherin is a notorious house for producing dark wizards.
Yeah. Which is still true in the book, but it's almost less of an important plot point. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, they're, you know. I do think, though, that Maggie Smith is just perfect.
Yeah.
For McGonagall.
Oh, yeah. I love how she's one of these actors, and I'm sure she was young once, but she's one of these actors that has just been old for a really long time. It's like Ian McKellen. I can't think of a lot of other people, but definitely Ian McKellen is just one of these people. Like, I recently just watched the video that your dad has just watched of Lord of the Rings, the cast of them. I don't know whether he's told you about this. Being all together on a Zoom meeting.
Oh, okay. I think I've seen bits from like other people posting online.
It's so good. But Ian McKellen looks exactly the same. Exactly the same. And that was like filmed like 30-ish years ago.
Wasn't it early 2000s? I thought it was the same time as Harry Potter.
It was. Oh.
So, I mean, still 20 years ago.
20 years ago.
Which is still a while.
Yeah.
I think it was because Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings were kind of like
they
almost
were
like competing at the same time, weren't they?
Yes.
It was like, are you team Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings?
Yes.
I was a bit young for that, but I'm pretty sure that was a kind of the thing that went on with the films. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
That's fair enough.
Especially in the awards, because Lord of the Rings just won all of them.
Yeah.
All of
them.
them.
That's
Which, to be fair, I think that's deserved. But anyway, I don't really think that I should be saying that on a Harry Potter podcast. But those films are masterpieces.
Yeah.
Anyway,
they are pretty incredible. I have only ever seen the extended editions.
That's
and
good.
Long.
I'm really proud of you. I've seen all of both versions, but we only ever watched the extendeds. They're
I've
the
only
only
ever
ones
seen the
worth
extended.
watching.
We had a Lord of the Rings marathon, and I was like, oh, it won't be too long because it's not many films, but we only have the extended edition, so it's very long.
It's like 3 hours per film.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to Harry Potter.
Yeah. So then they move into the. Do they move into the hall? Anyway, they're talking amongst themselves before they got sorted. About
they don't move into the hall at this point.
Okay, yeah. So they're in the hall.
Not important.
They're in the hall and they're talking among themselves about how they think they'll get sorted. And Ron says it's some kind of test, and Harry is immediately really nervous.
Oh, I feel so bad for Harry here and Ron because, well, Ron says that Fred tells him that it's some sort of test. And I think it's quite interesting that Fred says this, because I always saw Fred as like the slightly meaner, I guess, twin.
More
and
boisterous, I guess.
Yeah, that's a much better word for it. I don't see Fred as mean at all, really. And this is interesting because my mum, who is also a massive Harry Potter nerd, she only just noticed this in her like 2 or 3 year ago, and that must have been like her 20th read through at least.
Yeah.
Because she reads it pretty much every year. But I noticed it straight away. So yeah.
Oh.
Sorry.
Okay.
That's a bit of
little humble brag.
Sorry. I seem to like be kind of good at that, I guess.
No, like observant and like.
Well, like with people's characters.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think.
I did look this up on the Wizarding World website when I'd seen that you'd put this in the doc, because I also got that impression. I always saw Fred as the kind of like.
Well, as you say, boisterous.
Yeah.
And George is the sort of quieter one.
Yeah. Yeah, I always imagined him being more kind of out there, and George was just a bit more chill, really.
Yeah.
And I wondered why. So I looked it up on the Wizarding World website, and Fred is mentioned over 900 times in the book, but George is only mentioned 731 times.
That's so interesting.
Even though they're usually together,
it's always Fred
is mentioned considerably more than George is.
Okay.
And the moments where they are together, it's often Fred who like makes a statement, and then George will kind of explain it. So it's almost like Fred is the one who decides, like makes the decisions, and then George is like the thinker.
Yeah. Okay.
Which I think fits my kind of vision of them, I suppose.
Yeah. Because I see Fred and George as not as one entity. They're very different people.
Yeah. Even though I often refer to them as like the twins rather than like Fred and George. But
because they're always together.
Yeah.
And they do have very similar personalities, but at the same time,
they just kind of fit together. They're not one entity, but they're like one.
They're
set
like
because they just work together so well.
2 pieces of a puzzle.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 peas in a pod.
I do find it strange though that the sorting hat isn't just common knowledge to wizarding children.
Yeah, I think maybe like the parents kind of keep it as a little surprise. And then there's just like rumors. I could see like Molly and Arthur being like, don't tell them anything.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know though, it does seem strange that they wouldn't say, because like that would be really nerve-wracking.
Yeah. Or even just because like, I don't know, it just seems like something that, because Ron seems to know quite a bit about Hogwarts.
Yeah, that's true.
Or even, why didn't Hermione read about it well, I guess they're not chatting to Hermione, but it says all the kids are talking. Surely Hermione would read about it in Hogwarts A History.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I know.
That's true.
But apparently not in the book. Or the film. It doesn't really show that they don't know what's happening in the film, but it doesn't show that they do, so it's kind of... And then here is where Peeves is mentioned by the ghosts.
Yeah, I love how even the ghosts really hate Peeves. Yeah.
I guess I always forget that he's not a ghost.
No, he's like a creature.
Right, yeah.
He hasn't died or anything.
Yeah. He's a collection of the like mischievous energy of children.
Yeah.
So it's understandable why everyone would hate him.
Yeah. Do you want me to like say how Peeves got his name?
Oh, yeah, sure. I didn't know that.
Okay, so I'm just going to read mostly word for word what it says on the Wizarding website, but not all of it, because it's quite long. So the reason why Peeves is called Peeves is because he is a pet peeve of all of the caretakers.
Sense.
Yeah, so he's like, it's almost like, my pet peeve is that
right.
ghost, or
Don't know why I didn't think of that before, but that makes sense.
Yeah. It says that many students and even teachers have somewhat perverse fondness for Peeves, and then it says in brackets, he undoubtedly adds a certain zest to school life. And then I really wanted to read this little bit. Okay. Several concerted efforts to remove Peeves from the castle have resulted in failure. The last and most disastrous was made in 1876 by caretaker Rancorous Carp, who devised an elaborate trap baited with an assortment of weapons he believed would be irresistible to Peeves, and a vast enchanted bell jar reinforced by various containment charms, which he intended to drop over the poltergeist once he was in place. Not only did Peeves break easily through the giant bell jar, showering an entire corridor with broken glass, he also escaped the trap armed with several cutlasses, crossbows, a blunderbuss, and a miniature cannon. The castle was then evacuated while Peeves amused himself by firing randomly out of the windows and threatening all the sundry with death. A 3-day standoff was ended when headmistress of the day, Eupraxia Mole, agreed to sign a contract allowing Peeves additional privileges, such as a once-weekly swim in the boys' toilets on the ground floor, first refusal on stale bread from the kitchen for throwing purposes, and a new hat to be custom-made by Madame Bonheubil of Paris.
Oh.
Rancorous Carp took early retirement for health reasons, and no subsequent attempt has ever been made to rid the castle of its most ill-disciplined inhabitant.
Wow. So that's the hat that he wears throughout the series, isn't it? Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, sorry. Just thought that was really cool.
That is hilarious. So then the Sorting Hat appears, and we have the Sorting Hat's song, which it makes every year. It has a new song, and this is the first of a few. Not actually, I was going to say many, but not that many. 5?
I think there's 3.
3. Okay, yeah, 3 that we actually hear. In the book.
Think, yeah, that we actually know of. Yeah. I think so. Okay, shall I say it? We're just going to read it because it's great.
Just pretty great, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, you may not think I'm pretty, but don't judge on what you see. I'll eat myself if you can find a smarter hat than me. You can keep your bowlers black, your top hat sleek and tall, for I'm the Hogwarts Sorting Hat, and I can cap them all. There's nothing hidden in your head the Sorting Hat can't see, so try me on, and I will tell you where you ought to be. You might belong in Gryffindor, where dwell the brave at heart. Their daring, nerve, and chivalry set Gryffindors apart. You might belong in Hufflepuff, woo! Where they are just and loyal. Those patient Hufflepuffs are true and unafraid of toil. Or yet in wise old Ravenclaw, if you've a ready mind, where those of wit and learning will always find their kind. Or perhaps in Slytherin you'll make your real friends. Those cunning folk use any means to achieve their ends. So put me on, don't be afraid, and don't get in a flap. You're in safe hands, though I have none, for I'm a thinking cap. Hooray! I'm just doing hooray because they all clap at the end.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not like congratulating myself, although I'm really happy that I got through that with minimal.
I was very impressed.
Thank you.
That was very good. I mean, I feel like there's not much to say about that apart from it's a fun little
It's amazing.
bit in the book.
Okay, I love the Sorting Hat rhymes so much.
They are very good. But not in the film, which I think is a smart decision because they're just unnecessary.
Yeah.
For the sake of the story and everything. Also, this is from J.K. Rowling's writings on the Wizarding World website. She says, I debated several different methods for sorting students. The first was an elaborate Heath Robinsonish machine that did all kinds of magical things before reaching a decision, but I did not like it. It felt at once too complicated and too easy. Heath Robinson is a illustrator who made these kind of fantastical, imaginary inventions, and it's all very, magical, I guess.
Yeah.
So I think that would have fitted well, but it does sound very complicated.
I'm just looking at some of the illustrations now, and they are it's like kinetic energy machines.
Yeah.
It looks kind of like, I've seen this before. There's like one really famous one of eating where this guy is spooning food into a machine, and then the machine puts it into another guy's mouth.
Yeah. So it's all a bit like comical and
I like
in a
that,
way.
But I'm glad she didn't do it.
I understand her idea of it being kind of too easy.
Yeah.
And then she goes on. Next, I placed 4 statues of the 4 founders in the entrance hall, which came alive and selected students from the throng in front of them while the school watched. This was better, but still not quite right. That sounds incredible.
Yeah, I love that.
So cool.
I really love
kind of
that.
wish it was that. I don't know.
Me too.
But like that sounds super cool. And could
It's
you imagine the
like,
4 founders fighting in the Battle of Hogwarts? Like,
yes.
just imagine that. Like, how
Yes.
cool would that be? But
Oh, I'm
that
sorry.
would be
That's
so
so
cool.
cool.
I mean, maybe there are still statues, so we can headcanon it. It's fine.
Yeah.
And then she says, finally, I wrote a list of ways in which people can be chosen. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, short straws, chosen by team captains, names out of a hat, names out of a talking hat, putting on a hat, the sorting hat.
Ah, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's a nice choice. I think it makes
Yeah,
sense.
I think
and
it's a very magical
yeah,
choice.
yeah.
I just wonder though, like, does the sorting hat have a brain? Because, right, the sorting hat, isn't he as old, or it, I guess, as old as the 4
Hogwarts.
founders?
Yeah.
So surely the person who originally put the enchantment on is not alive still.
It's the 4 founders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, how does he, like, he thinks, he has like
He has
actual thoughts.
Yeah. It's what it is the 4 founders putting their like intelligence into the hat.
Oh, okay.
So it's not that he is, or it is its own
I
being.
don't know why we keep saying he, but I guess it has a male voice.
Yeah. It just is the intelligence and the knowledge and opinions, I suppose, of all the founders.
Right. Which is interesting because in one of the later ones, he warns them to stay together.
Yeah.
Which I guess is a lot of the 3 others other than Slytherin talking, because they were always super upset when Slytherin went away, weren't they?
Yeah.
They were really disheartened by it.
Yeah.
Because they were all really good friends.
I imagine that when someone's just talking to that, like in the office, it's almost like the collective of all the founders
together
kind of personalities. Which I feel like almost the story of Harry Potter is that like it's like all of those traits together that are, you know, that's what kind of gets success. And,
it's like a well-rounded person has all 4 traits.
Right. Exactly. It's like Divergent.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. We should also do a special episode on the houses. 100%.
Yeah.
So Harry at this point inwardly wishes that he didn't have to try on the hat in front of the whole school.
Fair enough, mate.
Is completely understandable.
Why? I mean, why do they? Why?
I know.
Why do they need to do that? That's so harsh. It's such a school thing as well. Like, schools always do this. Like, you have to like present it. You have to present it in front of everyone.
Yeah,
you know, like.
I thought you were talking about specifically houses. I was like, what?
No.
But yeah, like you have a. Yeah,
like if you have like a talent as a pianist or something, they're like, right, you're a good pianist, do it at the assembly at the start of the school day. Like, me and my friends were in a ukulele club together, and we were always asked to do assemblies, even though our whole year hates ukulele music, which is a bit unfair. I like ukulele music. Anyway, but yeah, I guess it is. Ukulele pride there.
Yeah. I guess it's just tradition, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just it's a really old tradition. So I think it's kind of understandable.
Yeah.
The sorting in the book was done alphabetically, and the first to be sorted was Hannah Abbott, who was put into Hufflepuff.
Woohoo.
And obviously in the film, it just kind of is a bit all over the place.
Yeah. I kind of get and don't get why they do this.
I understand to some extent because they want to get to the point of like the main characters being sorted.
Yeah.
But I feel like there are better ways to show that there have been names, if that makes sense.
What do you mean? Oh, she has a list of like a proper list of names.
It could have been like a funny moment of her like whacking out this like big list and then being like, oh no, we've got to stand here and like, or just, you know, but instead it just
Yeah.
kind of rambles around. Or maybe they wanted to, because Harry is sorted before Ron in the book, but after Hermione. Yeah. So I guess maybe they wanted that moment of Harry like going to join his new friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I guess, like, kind of save the best for last kind of thing as well.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
again, I think it makes sense in one sense, but also
It's
why
just
wouldn't
weird.
it be in alphabetical order?
Yeah. It's one of those things where we shouldn't be annoyed, but we are.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
And
a
then as we
stupid
were
thing to be
saying,
annoyed at.
Yeah. As we were saying earlier, in the film, when the hat's on someone's head, it talks to you kind of out loud in front of the whole school, whereas in the book, it's kind of, what's the
It
word?
keeps everything nice and private. It talks into your mind.
What's the word for it? It's like almost like telepathic
Yeah,
between you and the hat.
telepathy.
Telepathy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that
I like it a lot more, and they could have done that really easily in the film. Like, it could have been a cool, like, echo kind
or
of
even
moment.
just have it talking when it's on Harry's head but not anyone else's.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess for the we're gonna say this a lot, for the film it makes sense because it's you have to show it in the film.
Yeah, you
can't,
kind of
like,
have to have
explain it.
some kind of explanation.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you show something in a film.
Yeah, but I do think that if in the case of it being in front of the whole school, then that's completely understandable that Harry would be nervous because it's basically just all the secrets of your personality.
Yeah, although
Like,
he doesn't really say anything like that in the film, but yeah, he reveals some personal things to some people. To most really, because they're like, it's like who you are.
Yeah. It comes down to like the core of your personality, and I feel like that makes sense that it's just in your head.
Yeah.
So then all the students are sorted, and Blaise
I say Zabini.
I always said Zabini, but I think Zabini is what it is.
That's nuts! I've
think
never
it is
heard it Zabini before.
I feel like Zabini sounds cooler, but
It's
Zabini
so
makes
cool.
way more sense. Zabini would be with like a Y, but Blaise
Zabini.
Blaise Zabini.
I feel like Zabini would be with an A instead of an I. Zabini.
Yeah, Zabin, like samurai. Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyway, Blaise Zabini is mentioned because he's the last to be sorted, because he's a Z. And then after the sorting ceremony, Dumbledore stands and he says a few words, and these few words are nitwit, blubber, oddment, tweak, which is great. And I want those. If I ever get married, I want someone to stand up and be like, I just want to say a few words, and then just say,
Lucy, if I am your maid of honour, which
100%.
I'm not going to be offended if I'm not your maid of honour. Please don't feel obliged. But if I am,
go to give your maid of honour speech. But but don't like laugh and be like, just kidding. Like, just complete serious. And I won't even laugh. I'll just be like, wow. That was really emotional.
I would want to do a bit more.
Yeah.
Maybe
I
would do that at the end.
Speech. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I'd just do my speech, and then I'd be like, and
now I have a few closing words.
Closing remarks.
Or even at my funeral.
Yeah.
We've had conversations before about how we want the Aragog speech at our funeral, and I'm deadly serious about that. Body will decay, 100%.
I mean, if we're speaking logically, I'll probably die first, so you have to say that at my funeral.
But,
Yeah,
hopefully.
I know what you mean. Yeah, hopefully. I hope I'll die first, because that would be really depressing if not. Yeah, you have to say that at my funeral. Anyway.
Now we've talked about marriage and death.
Funeral plans aside.
Yeah. Harry asks Percy if Dumbledore is mad, and Percy tells Harry, mad? He's a genius, best wizard in the world, but he is a bit mad, yes.
That is so
sums
perfect.
him up very well.
Yeah, it does.
And as this is going on the Slytherin table, the Bloody Baron is sitting next to Draco. He has blank, staring eyes and robes stained with blood.
I love the Drake, the image of Drake just being so uncomfortable.
I need to find some fan art that someone's done of that, because that just seems like it has so much potential.
I should draw that.
Yeah, oh, definitely. That I can just see it in my mind. But I thought now would be an interesting time to talk about where the Bloody Baron's bloodstains are from and why he wears the chains. So here's a bit of ghost history. So the ghost of Ravenclaw is the Grey Lady, who is Helena Ravenclaw, and she's Rowena Ravenclaw's daughter, so one of the founders of Hogwarts' his daughter. And in The Deathly Hallows, when Harry finds her asking about the lost diadem of Ravenclaw, or Rowena Ravenclaw's lost diadem, or, the diadem, which is one of Voldemort's Horcruxes, she tells him the story of her death.
Dun, dun, dun.
So what happened leading up to her death was that she stole her mother's diadem and ran away with it, hoping to make herself wiser.
Everybody loves a rebel, Harry. Sorry.
Hoping to make herself more wise and powerful than Rowena, her mother. But shortly after this, Rowena became ill, and hoping to see her daughter one last time, sent a man who was in love with Helena to find her. This man was... the Bloody Baron.
I'm so surprised.
And then when Helena refused to return, the Baron became violent and stabbed her.
That's a great conclusion to come to.
Yeah. I think that his logic was that he was jealous that she had the option to run away, if that makes sense. Whereas he was kind of obliged to do as he was told, and he couldn't just run off and have this life he wanted. So he stabbed her, and then this is a quote directly from the book, from the Grey Lady, or Helena Ravenclaw. When he saw what he had done, he was overcome with remorse. He took the weapon that claimed my life and used it to kill himself. All these centuries later, he wears his chains as an act of penitence, I guess. I think that's just showing that you showing regret, basically.
Yes.
As he should, she added bitterly. So basically,
it's a bit of a Romeo and Juliet, isn't it? Apart from,
but kind of like reverse. It's like hate Romeo and Juliet instead of because So
Romeo and Juliet both kill themselves, don't they?
Yeah. Well,
because Romeo thinks Juliet's dead and kills himself, and then Juliet sees that Romeo's dead and kills herself.
And also, she's like 13 years old.
Yes. Oh,
I mean, that does sound
like
a 13-year-old me would probably... That's not what I mean, but,
I mean, you are dramatic at that age.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I love that... This is a complete tangent, but I love that Romeo and Juliet are just dramatic teenagers. That just really adds something to the story.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, basically his bloodstains are from stabbing himself, and the chains are to show that he regrets stabbing the Grey Lady.
It's a bit sad.
Yeah.
He's a sad character, but he doesn't act like it. He's just a bit kind of crazy.
Yeah, I feel like that's such a it's just a random little kind of side bit of context for a random plot point. But I would love to have a little Tales of Beedle the Bard style story about them. Yeah.
Kind of on the lines of Warlock's Hairy Heart. Yeah. Which, if you haven't read, it's a great read.
Mm-hmm. Although the Warlock's Hairy Heart did really scare me because I read it when I was I loved it, but I was quite young.
Oh no, that is not a story for a young person.
But I looking back, I think it's quite cool because it kind of mirrors Dumbledore's experience with the story. If you haven't read the Tales of Beedle the Bard, it's very, very good. And within the story, it's translated by Hermione Granger.
Wait, oh yes, from the original,
From the runes.
From the runes,
So then when they start to eat the feast, or after they've eaten the feast and when it's dessert, Harry's favourite dessert is mentioned, which is treacle tart. Do you like treacle tart?
I like it, but in very small portions because it's just so sweet. It's so sickly.
Sugar in pastry.
Yeah.
I made it for my birthday a while ago because I was turning 17. And so I was like, I have to have Harry Potter's favourite dessert.
I mean, you had a Harry Potter feast, didn't you? It was so cool.
Good. It was so cool.
I mean, that was like the origins of this podcast, kind of.
Yeah, pretty
that cool. Yeah.
And I'm not sure if I like it. Sorry, Harry.
Yeah, well, I can maybe eat 2 mouthfuls and then I'm done. And I need like a lot of cream with it, and unsweetened
that's the thing.
cream.
We didn't have any cream. I think there are still slices of it in a tub in the cupboard somewhere, and it's been almost 2 months since my birthday.
Yeah.
So,
well, if you haven't had it, isn't it like just pecans?
So
oh no, it's not pecans. Sorry.
The recipe I used was like super easy. I feel like we're taking so long explaining and discussing treacle tart. It's not very important, but it's breadcrumbs, golden syrup, and then usually you flavour it with like a bit of ginger or lemon or cinnamon.
Yeah. Isn't there a fair amount of like brown sugar in it, or am I thinking of pecan pie?
You might be thinking of pecan. Well, I don't know. The recipe I used, it was just golden syrup and breadcrumbs as a base.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I had it at like a restaurant, I'd really enjoy it. But I think it was just a bit weird.
Yeah.
It's just a bit strange.
Yeah. I think I understand why it would be someone's favourite dessert, but at the same time I'm like...
Especially an 11-year-old or a 10-year-old at this point, because it's just sugar inside pastry.
Yeah. That's literally what it is.
Yeah.
Golden syrup is like...
Sugar.
It is sugar. Yeah, it's like stronger honey.
Yeah. Strong honey. Honey that goes to the gin. So then Neville's backstory is mentioned, which we briefly discussed earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember that happening, but it says here that it does.
Oh wait, shall I try and find it? So they're all talking about their backstories and where they the families that they're from. So this is when like Seamus goes, well, I'm half and half. Me mum's
a muggle, and
mum's a witch.
Bit of a nasty shock for him when he found out.
Thank you for that.
Hire me for any voice acting vacancies.
Especially Irish.
Especially Irish.
Which is almost word for word from the book. And then Ron says, what about you, Neville? And Neville reveals that his gran brought him up and she's a witch. And he says that his family were like worried that he was a muggle for ages. And what this makes me laugh and really sad at the same time. What revealed his magicalness was his great uncle Algie kept trying to catch him off guard and force magic out of him. It says, he pushed me off the end of Blackpool Pier once. I nearly drowned, but nothing happened until I was 8. Great Uncle Algie came round for tea, and he was hanging me out of an upstairs window by the ankles when my great auntie Enid offered him a meringue, and he accidentally let go. But I bounced all the way down the garden and into the road. They were all really pleased. Gran was crying. She was so happy. Oh dear. Should be mentioned here that tea means an evening meal rather than a cup of tea.
Yeah. Do you think that Neville had just got to the point where his magic had started showing, or do you think it was the fact that he was literally about to die that it kind of brought it out?
I think it was because he was about to die. I think he was always naturally cowardly or timid, and so he was just not very sure of himself in magical ability as well. So I think that's why he was just kind of... I mean, I wonder whether he was almost an obscurus, because he might have just been suppressing it because he just was so unsure of himself. Yeah.
Interesting.
I've never thought about that before.
So Dumbledore is giving his kind of speech about the just some announcements about the year, and Harry laughs when Dumbledore says that going to the 3rd floor corridor on the right-hand side will lead to a painful death, because he thought that Dumbledore's joking, but everyone else, does it say they look stony-faced or something along those lines? They don't laugh.
Yeah, they just don't laugh. I don't
yeah.
think it says anything.
And similarly to Draco being sat next to the Bloody Baron, I have a really strong mental image of Dumbledore being all serious and like the whole hall and Harry's going and then just everyone else is completely silent.
Yeah. Well, I think a few others, because it says he was one of the few who did.
Yeah.
And then he asks Percy if Dumbledore's actually serious. Sorry. Is he Sirius Black? How do you know about Sirius Black? Anyway. And then Percy says, oh, he must be, because he usually gives us a reason why we're not allowed to go somewhere. And then he says, like, the forest is full of dangerous beasts, everyone knows that. And then he says, I do think he might have told us prefect at least. Oh, Percy.
And then after the speech from Dumbledore, we have a school song.
School song. Oh, yeah.
Which everyone, basically what happens is Dumbledore puts up the words and everyone sings in whatever tune and key and tempo they want. And so it's this kind of mess of just sounds. And actually although the Hogwarts song isn't in the first film, it is in the 4th film when they have the kind of welcoming ceremony with it's not in the film, but it's in a deleted scene with the welcoming ceremony of Beauxbatons and Durmstrang.
It's like their presentation.
Which I kind of love even more than it just being like a little song at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Although in the film it is a bit more kind of organised and they kind of have... Although
they
it's
all
not
have a
all at the same
tune.
time, it's almost like, what's it called, rounds? Where you some people start later. Yeah. But I do find it quite funny. And there's not a deleted scene, but a little behind the scenes clip of Daniel Radcliffe being really mad that like the other schools get these like cool displays.
Oh,
and he's just got like this song.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and then you have Robert Pattinson like trying not to laugh as he's singing this song. It's pretty great.
Yeah.
And
do you want to sing it?
I feel like we should.
Yeah.
I might
do you want
to
sing it
just to double check
together, or do you want to sing like? Because I feel like we both probably have different ways of doing it, but I feel like it would be more authentic, like it is in the book, to do it together.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like the first part we're gonna have like quite similar, because they do sing a little bit of the first part in
but
4.
Mine's not very similar to the film. Anyway.
Oh really? Okay.
Alright, let's go for it.
Oh dear. 1, 2, 3. Hogwarts, Hogwarts, Hoggy Hogwarts, teach us something, please.
Whether we be old and bold, or young with scabby knees, our heads could do with filling with some interesting stuff. For now they're there and full of dead flies and bits of fluff. So teach us things worth knowing, bring back what we forgot. Just do your best, we'll do the rest, and learn until our brains all rot. Oh, lovely. I'm a bit scared
had to take. Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I'm a bit scared
I had to take my earphones out as well.
Yeah.
Because you were really distracting me.
I
cannot wait to listen to that back.
All right.
You are welcome, everybody.
As well as voice acting, we are also available for any, weddings. Harry Potter themed weddings, birthdays, bar mitzvahs, funerals.
Yeah. But only with that.
With that. That's our one song, unfortunately. Well, fortunately, I might say.
Yeah.
And after So yeah, the Weasleys sing a funeral march, which I think is amazing. So they
So
finished
them. It's
ages
so them.
after everyone else. And Dumbledore says, "Ah, music, a magic beyond all we do here." Which is a
So
lovely
true.
quote. And
Yeah.
hilarious that he says it after a bunch of teenagers singing a song with completely different
Tone
tunes.
deaf. Yeah, and a funeral march.
He's still loving it. And he conducts them all and everything. It's pretty good. I'm happy that it made it into... I'm kind of happy that it wasn't actually in the movies because I feel like it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
So I'm
It
kind
would
of
just
happy
be
they
like,
deleted that
oh,
scene. And also
yeah.
I would start singing it as the film version.
Yeah, and I
That
like
makes
having
sense.
like our own version, although
Yeah,
because
which is the point.
I could like semi hear you through the headphones as I
Mhm.
was like this, and I think we did actually end up with a somewhat similar version, but I'm not sure.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So Peeves makes another appearance. He's carrying walking sticks, which does he throw at the kids?
I think he's going to throw them.
He's planning to throw them at the kids, and it's revealed that only the Bloody Baron can control him.
Yeah, because Percy says, "Do you want me to go to the Bloody Baron?"
Yeah. So I'm just going to read from the chapter because it's a pretty great little
Yeah.
section. A bundle of walking sticks was floating mid-air ahead of them. This is when they're walking back up to the dormitories.
Seeing that
As a muggle kid as well.
As a muggle wizard. Sorry, carry on.
So yeah, they're walking back up to the dormitories, and as Percy took a step towards them, they started throwing themselves at him. "Peeves," Percy whispered to the first years. "A poltergeist." He raised his voice. "Peeves, show yourself." A loud, rude sound, like the air being let out of a balloon, answered. "Do you want me to go to the Bloody Baron?" There was a pop and a,
Sorry.
and a little...
I wanted to put that in.
And a little... Okay, I can't read. And a little man with wicked dark eyes and a wide mouth appeared, floating cross-legged in the air, clutching the walking sticks. "Ooh," he said, with an evil cackle. "Ickle thirsties, what fun." He swooped suddenly at them. They all ducked. "Go away, Peeves, or the Baron will hear about this. I mean it," barked Percy. Peeves stuck out his tongue toffee. Anyway, Peeves stuck out his tongue and vanished, dropping the walking sticks on Neville's head.
Oh no.
They heard him zooming
Neville.
away. Why is it always me? They heard him zooming away, rattling coats of armour as he passed. "You'll want to watch out for Peeves," said Percy, as they set off again. "The Bloody Baron's the only one who can control him. He won't even listen to us prefects."
Oh dear, Percy.
I love the recurring kind of line, I guess,
prefects.
of
Yeah.
us prefects. They won't even tell us, listen to us, you know.
He's like, we're a higher being.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And to end the chapter, we have Harry's dream, which is very interesting throughout the whole series. Harry's dreams, I mean, obviously, like in the fifth one, his dreams are reality.
They feature,
Yeah, but even just his dreams from early on in the book have a lot of foreshadowing in them. So I'll just read his dream, which is the end of the Sorting Hat chapter. Harry was going to ask Ron if he had any of the treacle tart, but he fell asleep almost at once. Perhaps Harry had eaten a bit too much, because he had a very strange dream. He was wearing Professor Quirrell's turban, which kept talking to him, telling him he must transfer to Slytherin at once, because it was his destiny. Harry told the turban he didn't want to be in Slytherin. It got heavier and heavier. He tried to pull it off, but it tightened painfully. And there was Malfoy laughing at him as he struggled with it. Then Malfoy turned into the hooked-nosed teacher, Snape, whose laugh became high and cold. There was a burst of green light, and Harry woke, sweating and shaking. Harry rolled over and fell asleep again, and when he woke the next day, he didn't remember the dream at all.
Oh.
I mean, I feel like that doesn't need much explanation if you have seen the film or read the book.
It's so interesting, I don't get how Harry, because Harry's brain doesn't have the information that Voldemort is on the back of Quirrell's head.
Yeah.
So why does Harry's brain come up with the turban speaking to him?
Do you think it's just the Horcrux having its own little bit of fun.
Ooh, yeah, because do you reckon like the Horcruxy parts of Harry and Voldemort kind of linked
Yeah,
up
like
a little
clock each
bit?
other, linked up. Yeah, so he's
Oh,
probably kind of subconsciously aware that almost like part of him is in the turban, but he's not aware of it, but the Horcrux in him is.
yes. Oh, I love that.
And then it's associating that with the light and Slytherin and, without
Yeah,
him even realising. I
yeah.
think that's probably...
And then we hear Voldemort for the first time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Dun
Didn't even
dun.
think about that.
Yeah,
What is it?
my
What is it
mum
that it
says
says a high...
Snape whose laugh became high. Oh, whose laugh became high and cold.
Oh,
And then there was a burst of green light, which is
yeah.
obviously Avada Kedavra.
Mhm.
My mum really is annoyed that J.K. Rowling describes Voldemort with a high voice because she just can't she
No,
cannot. But
imagine it.
I always saw him as with a high voice.
Really?
Yeah, I always imagined he was like, Harry, kind of.
It's like in a very Potter musical.
It's literally in a very Potter musical.
Yeah.
I think the voice that he
His
does is
Voldemort.
perfect. Without the comical effect, obviously.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I kind of agree with your mum, to be honest. I think it's fine, but I can't. It's probably partially because I've just watched the film so many times, and so I just
Yeah.
hear the whole kind of like deeper, raspy kind of voice,
Yeah.
But well, I don't know. High cackle just seems a bit like witchy.
Maybe that's why.
Yeah.
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 Okay, and now over to Lucy for our Marauders map.
Okie dokie. So, the first kind of location that we see in this section in the film is the bridge where Hagrid leaves Harry at King's Cross Station, which is the bridge which connects all 8 platforms in the main building of King's Cross. And I believe that the bridge was dismantled in 2009. However, this information is from your mum's notes in the book she gave me. So, and I googled it, and I'm pretty sure it was dismantled in 2009. It may have been rebuilt, but I'm pretty sure it's gone. So, sorry about that. If you wanted to see
you
it,
have a book.
I have
You have a
multiple, I
book
think.
that my mum wrote notes
Yeah,
in.
it's the locations book, and she's got notes about like, but they don't let you in. The tea house is closed now, and like little things like that. And
Oh, so
underlined bits,
cool.
which is actually very useful because otherwise I'd have to read through pages and pages every single time. And so she's like underlined where it actually is. So yeah, that's very useful. But platform 9 3/4 is located obviously between platforms 9 and 10. But platforms 9 and 10 aren't in the main building. So platforms 3 and 4, which are in the main building, were used to include the station's really grand architecture in the film to fit the aesthetic and the kind of magical look. That it's glass ceilings, I think, and it's all kind of what's the word, arches, and it's very
It's
beautiful.
kind of like a greenhouse on the top,
Yeah.
isn't it?
It's really cool, and I
Yeah.
understand why they
It
chose
is
to
really
do that
cool.
instead of like just the extra little extension, which wouldn't be as
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah. So obviously, King's Cross Station is a major London station. I mean, I don't know if that is obvious actually, but it is a major London station.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
It's a really huge
yeah,
one.
it's like one of the main ones in London. So filming took place on a Sunday, which was the quietest day for the station, which is a smart choice. Although I'm pretty sure that there were still loads of Harry Potter fans or not even Harry Potter fans, but just people who were aware of the series, just kind of staring at what was going on. Could you imagine? You're just catching a
Probably.
train and
Do you reckon?
Harry
Yeah,
Potter's
and
there.
there's like Daniel Radcliffe.
Yeah. I think I'd read an
Yeah.
interview with maybe the producer or someone who said that they gained a bit of a crowd when they were filming.
Well, of course. Yeah, there's crowds everywhere. Like if you see like a film crew, I've seen a film crew and it wasn't anything like crazy
Yeah,
or
but I was still
anything,
like, oh,
but
what's going on? Like,
there was still loads of
yeah.
crowds like, ooh, I might meet someone
Yeah.
famous, etc. So yeah, I can imagine. And I find it hard to believe that they didn't like. I don't know how they would do that though. I find it hard to believe they didn't close the section off.
I imagine they
Um,
probably, I don't know, but they probably did close like maybe that one platform, but it just
yeah,
people on the platform opposite, if that makes sense, because the station's quite open.
I
It's just
guess
rows
so.
of platforms, I think. So,
Yeah, I'm trying
or
to
just people
visualize it.
on
Yeah,
trains and they can't close the whole station. The best they can do is film
yeah,
on a Sunday, which
yeah.
is yeah, a good idea.
It's it's cool that they filmed on platforms 3 and 4, and it's like 9 and 3/4.
I never thought of that, but that is quite cool. That's
Yeah.
quite fun. The platform that they used in the film doesn't have the green ticket barriers that are described in the book. So instead, Harry and the Weasleys
Mm.
ran through the supporting brick arches, which I think was a good choice. I think either Chris Columbus or one of the producers said that it was one of those cases where they didn't have what was really in the film, so they just kept the spirit of the film, which I think this works very well, having the brick arches. It's very grand and it works well. And it
Yeah.
has that idea of
I
like,
want to see like yeah, I want to see like what was what was in J.K. Rowling's head,
mm,
like because we've talked about this before, where how does it work with those like turnstile or any kind of barrier? Like how do they lean across it? Like it's just weird. It's just really
yeah, I
weird.
want
Like,
to,
how do you run through a turnstile? Like,
yeah.
turnstiles, like, I always get the visualization of Donkey trying to go through the turnstile in Shrek and going,
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
I mean, I think maybe it would be like that, and then you'd kind of whiz around it. Kind of looks like they whiz around the
yeah, that's what I
turnstile.
kind of
That'd be
envisaged
kind
now
of
that,
cool.
but I don't think that because she talks about leaning against it but
Yeah,
you know, I think the film, what's the word, dealt with it, I guess, very well. I think it works
yeah.
perfectly, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I totally agree. I think that was a really good decision because that brick wall, like, it kind of nods to Diagon Alley as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
And like bricks in general are like if you've envisaged like quaint a quaint cottage or something, it's
Very
never like
English.
anything but
Yeah,
brick.
yeah.
Yeah. Or I guess sometimes stone, but bricks are just so like quirky
Yeah,
and
yeah. Like cobbled
yeah.
streets, that kind of.
Like people get like brick wallpaper. It's so good.
Yeah. Yeah. There's also there's an actual, well, not an actual, but there's a platform 9 3/4 at King's Cross, and it has the trolley disappearing into the wall that you can take a photo with.
I've been there.
I've never been. I really want to go. There's
I've
also,
I've been so I've been to the unofficial one.
oh,
They were
okay.
it was so annoying. They were doing work on it at the time.
Oh,
So they moved it to one of
yeah.
like the plastic
Hmm.
barriers to stop you going into the work
Yeah.
area. They moved it onto there, so it was a bit lame. I
Yeah.
want to go again and
Do
do
it
it
properly.
properly,
Yeah.
but at least
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
gone.
There's also a
Yeah.
shop which is convenient for, you
Yeah.
know, the brat. Anyway, I'm sure it's a nice shop. Never been, but we have been though to there's the brick wall with the trolley at the Harry Potter studio tour.
Yeah, there's like 3 or 4
Hmm.
stations. You never have to wait very
Yeah.
long. That's a really good opportunity, and it looks the same. I mean, I think
Hmm.
if you're in London,
Yeah.
go to that
Yeah.
station
And it's
because it
free
doesn't
as well.
cost like usually you get like a just Uber card.
Yeah.
It doesn't cost anything. So if you're in London, like do it, but I wouldn't
Hmm.
like travel to
Yeah.
London just to do it, which I imagine some people do.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're,
Um,
well, I feel like people probably visit London on like a Harry Potter like day trip maybe.
Probably.
So if you're there for
Yeah.
that, definitely.
Yeah.
And if you just happen to be like in the station and you've got 5 minutes before you catch your train, go have a look. That
Yeah,
kind of thing.
definitely. But it's definitely one of those ones where it's not like a great
Yeah, it's not
experience.
a
It's just
tourist
like I've
attraction.
gone to say that I've
Yeah,
gone.
and for a cool photo.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then, moving out of platform 9 3/4, we see in the film the Hogwarts Express moving across the, I'm going to butcher it, but the Glenfinnan Viaduct? Glenfinnan Viaduct?
I would say so, Glenfinnan, yeah.
Which is...
Been there.
I haven't, I really want to go. It looks very cool.
When we went to Edinburgh, we went there, and to Alnwick Castle.
Mm-hmm.
And I cannot believe this, right? My mum, who is like the most Harry Potter geek of all time, she hates stairs enough that she didn't go up the viewing platform
I can't
to like
believe that.
see
That's
it in all
mental.
its glory.
Is that the oh no, I'm thinking of I was thinking of the ones up to Trelawney's classroom.
No, it's just literally it's a proper old tower. It's not
Right.
like it's not like a man. It is man-made. It's not like a modern. It's not a modern one.
Yeah.
It's just a fragment of a building that was once there. There's a little like cafe, of course, and you literally just go up and up and up, and it's lots of stairs.
Wow.
To be fair to her, and
Yeah.
I don't know whether I'd do that anymore, but I was a little kid at the time.
I don't like long spiral staircases, to be honest, but I'd
No.
power through.
No, me neither. But I was like, it's like this is our one chance. Like, just do it. But yeah, she wouldn't. But that's a really amazing place to go to.
The castle.
The viaduct.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's
And the castle.
I think
the castle's pretty
I
cool.
think the viaduct is in quite a few of the films. It's just the big kind of bridge-looking thing with all the arches.
Yeah.
It's in the second one. It's where Harry and Ron come down in the Ford Anglia
Yes.
and kind of meet the train. So I would say it's quite a
Hold on,
iconic.
I can't.
Your hands are
all
sweaty.
sweaty.
So yeah, quite an iconic location, I would say. And then we come into Hogsmeade Station, which is Goathland Station in the North York Moors National Park. And the town currently has a population of 438.
Oh, so tiny.
I know. So small. And apparently a lot of
I want to go there.
apparently a lot of the people who lived in the town, or no, it's not what would it be? Oh, it says town. Okay. Well, a lot of the
That
people
would be a
who
town,
lived
I
in,
guess. Just
I don't know, 400 people. Anyway, people who lived in Goathland helped with elements of the production. I think some of them helped sew Hagrid's trousers or something, stuff like that. So
that's so cute.
yeah, kind of similar to in Pirates of the Caribbean, a lot of the islanders where they filmed were extras or were hired for the production,
Yeah.
which I think is super cool.
Yeah.
So-
I really like that. Yeah, wasn't it because they were like poor and looking for jobs or something, and they were like, "Come be an extra. We need more," or something.
Maybe, I'm not sure.
I can't remember. I think it was something like that. Oh no, maybe I'm thinking of A Knight's Tale. They
Oh.
did that, so they had like a homeless program or a people who found it hard to get a job,
That's super
and
cool.
they had those types of people as extras,
That's really cool.
specifically, yeah, on A Knight's Tale. So maybe I'm thinking of that.
That's fun.
Yeah, I like it when they do that.
Yeah. And then, of course, after Hogwarts, you get that the shot of the boats not riding, rowing. The boats
Sailing?
yeah, the boats sailing towards Hogwarts, and you have that shot of
Yeah.
it's just beautiful.
I want to see it without Hogwarts and someone like doing like a dramatic pan up with a camera, and then there's just nothing
I
there.
have actually seen that when I was watching all the behind the scenes stuff. I was
Oh,
watching
really?
the scene where, well, I didn't see the actual original shot, but I saw shots of them all on the little pool of water with their lanterns, looking amazed up at a green screen. That was
Nothing.
quite fun. Yeah. Gives me
amazing.
more admiration, respect. Gives me more respect. I don't know. I'm not good with words.
I think
am doing English language, but
admiration would
it's
be.
been rough. Admiration, yeah.
I think
Gives me more
admiration
admiration
is
for
good.
actors, because, like, oh, can you imagine, especially as a little kid? I mean, 11 isn't
Yeah, having to be
particularly
like,
young, but
wow!
or maybe it's easier as a
And
little kid. I
not
don't
doing
know.
it like really
Cheesy.
over the top as well. Like, 'cause
Yeah.
if you do it over the top, it's like what are they looking at?
Yeah.
It's just a castle at the end of the day.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So
It's a pretty boss castle,
it's a really cool castle.
but it's not like they're
It's
not
a
like going to
castle.
Alton Towers or well, Alton Towers isn't very good, but I'm trying to like
Yeah,
it's
no,
not like amazing theme park
right.
or yeah.
So to make this just a castle, as Elizabeth said, the art department.
Sorry, I love Hogwarts,
It's just a castle. It's just a castle.
but like they're 11,
Yeah,
like
yeah. Anyway, yeah, the art department built a scale model of Hogwarts for use in establishing shots, which is probably the most incredible thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
yeah.
That model, which is
Easily.
at the studio tour. I think I cry every single time I walk into that room.
I think now I'm a bit desensitized because I'm just like, I wish they would play some different music.
That's true. That's true. They play, what is it,
Yeah,
Harry and
but
Winter?
Harry and
Harry
Winter,
and Winter
yeah.
just the whole time, which for most people is fine
They
because
hold
it's
it
like
on loop.
it's like a 5-minute long song, right? So
Yeah, and most
it's
people
like,
just
oh,
like
pretty
go,
nice.
oh, that's nice.
Gift shop.
Take some photos. Yeah, go to gift shop.
We're usually
But
there for at least an
we
hour,
spend like
maybe 2.
like half an hour, 40 minutes.
Yeah, and it gets a bit tedious.
And
You know
there's
what we
like a
should do?
lot to learn on like the screens
Next
and
time
stuff.
we should bring earphones and play our own music as we go
Oh
around.
yeah, I should get
It's
a
actually not a bad
playlist
idea.
up because I say like every
We should
time
be playing.
some of the stuff from Seven,
Yeah.
they
Oh,
should be playing the one that I always say, what is it? The one from 3 where Harry's talking to Lupin and it's just a descant recorder.
That one.
Yes. Yeah.
My incredible rendition.
I love that.
Yeah.
That would be so
it's
good
so
because it's on the
emotional.
bridge and the bridge is there and
Yeah.
it's like, oh.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So this.
that's like, I think I don't cry because I'm so annoyed by that.
Yeah.
But I did cry the first time.
Yeah, it is really incredible, and it's just so yeah, they built this model so they could, all those shots you see kind of panning around Hogwarts, panning over the top of Hedwig flying in, they're all of the model and then CGI around it, and it's so detailed and it's all to scale and it's just incredible. They the art department they wanted it to feel real, so they looked at Oxford and Cambridge University and medieval cathedrals like Westminster, Canterbury and Durham to make it feel like it had been there since, I don't know, actually, when do we know when Hogwarts was built?
Built in early Middle Ages, around 993
Wow. Okay.
by a wizard architect, an unnamed wizard architect, and it was also built. The 4 founders also
wow.
helped build it as
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
Where's that?
So yeah,
What's the
but
source?
that is
What's the
from
source from that?
that's from
Oh,
the wiki.
Yeah, which is not particularly
So
reliable.
take that with a pinch of salt.
But
But
a long time ago is what we can say that for sure. It's built a while ago.
yeah, that seems
Yeah.
quite
Yeah.
quite good.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was really lame of me. That seems quite
Seems
good.
quite good, yeah. Gary Tompkins, who is the art director on this movie, and I think, actually, I have no idea if he did the rest of them, but he said that everything had to be recreated to scale, quote, right down to the pinheads that represent the bolts that fix the hinges to the doors. There's also miniature owls in the owlery and a replica of Dumbledore's telescope in his office. So it's incredibly intricate.
Yeah, it is. And I think that is really smart because then you don't have to think about anything post-production. You don't have to like add anything in CG.
In the actual castle, yeah.
It's all
And
just
they
there.
put, when it's
Yeah,
winter,
you can
they
be
put
really lazy with it.
Yeah, and they hand dust, I guess, the snow onto the model when it's winter. And
Have you seen that happening? Like not live, but on film.
Yeah, I've seen some videos of it. And then I also, actually, the first time I saw the model, it was January. So the first time I saw it, it was covered in snow, which I think really that was a good first time to see it because it was just so beautiful.
It is incredible. Yeah. The first time I saw it, it would have been covered in snow, but they didn't do the snow at that time. It was too early. They only thought about doing that a couple of years after.
It's incredible. And also, I feel like the fact that they, from the very beginning, had that model made Hogwarts feel so much more real, because when they were doing shots and scenes, they like kind of, I assume they kind of knew where that corridor went and knew where those doors went, because they had this huge model and they knew that we were on the west side of the castle, which means we're facing that, and we know that the astronomy tower is on this side and it overlooks that lake, and it's just amazing.
It gives you a very clear idea of what's going on.
They're just so cool.
Yeah. It's really smart of him to do that as well, because he was probably thinking, well, we've got like 7 films to film. He probably knew that. And like, we can't just, change it every single time, although it did change a little bit. But like the main map of Hogwarts, there should be like a really established map of that. So yeah, I think it was a really smart idea. All right, so that concludes this episode of Potterwatch from Page to Screen.
Keep twiddling those dials, keep each other safe, keep faith.
Good night. Sorry, I had to like laugh before because I've got to get all my laughs out.
Okay, problem is that okay, last time.
I've started teaching Matilda how to say Albus Dumbledore. So now every time I say Albus Dumbledore, she goes, Adabada. Later.